Hi everybody, today's September 17th. This is your Buzz Weekly brought to you by Infegy. I'm Ben Hagedorn.
And I'm Adam Coombs, and I've got a mustache.
That he does. You're also going to start us off today.
I'm going to start us off. All right, got a lot of cool stuff happening this week. New Twitter.com was just announced. Major revamp of their design. It's going to be pretty cool stuff.
Nice.
YouTube just released some information on basically having a live streaming service. That's pretty cool.
Cha-zing.
Yep, we've got some debates heating up around the tax cuts.
Cha-ching.
And we're going to be talking a little bit about that. And crazy story Gawker released on Google firing one of their engineers for abusing their power a little bit. We're going to talk about that.
Creepy
Stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, Internet Explorer 9 was just announced and released beta version this week by Microsoft.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with it.
You
We're
really?
gonna talk a lot about that. Yeah, I don't like Internet Explorer, but I like this one.
More later.
Yep. All right, so let's kick it off with Twitter. All right, so brand new Twitter.com page. They just talked about a huge revamp. This is big for Twitter. This is the biggest revamp they've ever done. They haven't really had too many big changes since they launched, so this is pretty exciting. We're going to show you a few screenshots. You can check that out. Pretty cool stuff. What was really interesting about this is it looks a lot more like an app than it ever has. So what I wonder is what it's going to mean for some of the third-party services like TweetDeck, Seismic, Hootsuite, stuff like that. Are people going to still be using them as much? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I did do a little research. App was coming up quite a bit in the conversations around the new Twitter. So I wonder, I mean, they're talking about it being more of an application.
Yeah.
So it might actually affect the usage quite a bit. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. It's pretty crazy.
I mean, that's
right?
interesting. It's a
All
big
right.
deal.
It is a big deal. We've also got YouTube. They announced that they're doing live streaming. That's interesting because there's actually a lot of people already doing that. We've got Ustream, Justin TV, live stream. There's actually quite a few of them out there. I don't know what that means for those guys, but they've got some competition on their hands. YouTube has a major user base.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's going to do to their usage. So
I mean, it's a better known name.
It absolutely. Everyone uses YouTube.
Yeah.
So if they start doing live streaming, then who isn't going to use it, right?
Yeah, it's tough.
All right. So we did a little research on that, and within the YouTube live conversations, Ustream was talked about the most, then followed by Justin TV, and then live stream. So I mean, Ustream's a pretty good service. I understand why they're talking about Ustream. You know,
I've never used it.
it's good. Why haven't you used it?
No real. I don't know. I don't even know what it does.
You don't know anything about it?
No. This is actually the first time hearing about it.
Okay. Well, I understand that. All right. So let's get into your realm a little bit here. The debates around the tax cuts. What do you know about this stuff?
Okay. Well, what I know is Republicans and Democrats disagree. No surprise there.
No. Are you kidding?
Yeah. Believe it or not,
They're
disagreeing. What we did was we actually got online through Social Radar. What we did was we analyzed the conversations on liberal websites and on conservative websites.
Nice.
And what we wanted to do was we wanted to see, are the conversations different?
Sure.
Right? And so we analyzed tens of thousands of conversations. And what we came up with, the biggest thing that really stood out to me was that the deficit conversations on liberal websites.
Yeah.
So the deficit, primarily a conservative issue, right? Deficit hawks, things of this type.
Yep.
Liberals are talking about the deficit twice. Twice as likely to mention the deficit than conservative websites.
Really? Interesting.
It's actually a pretty big deal. So my thought is that liberals want to talk about the deficit because if we don't raise taxes on the wealthy, then we're going to continue to have issues with the deficit.
Sure.
That's why they're using it as kind of their jumping off point. That's why they're using it as their argument. But really interesting stuff. And it's interesting to put numbers to it finally.
Absolutely.
To have some numbers to these arguments. So.
Interesting stuff, man.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's get into this this Google story. It's pretty wild.
Another really interesting story actually out there, like you said, released by Gawker exclusive. This is actually pretty interesting. So this high-level Google engineer was, I guess, trying to impress some of his underage teenage friends with kind of his power and his authority at Google and all this type. So what he decided to do was to hack into their accounts, right? Because they were actually starting to get creeped out by this guy. So one of his friends blocked him on Google Chat. They wouldn't share information with him. I guess this upset him, so he got in there. He actually manually unblocked himself.
Oh, wow.
So then he could still chat with him. And he read through his emails. Dude, he read through his emails.
Insane.
I know. To figure out the name of his girlfriend or something like that. a whole complicated issue.
That's not only creepy, that's just wrong, man. You can't be doing that stuff.
Privacy,
we
right?
as people trust Google to handle our information.
And Google's got a lot of information about us.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And so it all comes down to privacy, which actually leads me to what I searched in Social Radar.
Okay.
Was we wanted to look at, I think we'll go ahead and show some screenshots on the screen here. We were looking at privacy online to see what are some of the top trending topics.
That's a good point. I want to know specifically, like, who's being talked about the most among privacy.
The biggest, Facebook. Facebook
okay,
came in.
That I can believe, because I hear a lot about Facebook privacy settings and their ups and downs and all that sort of stuff, always in the news.
Almost 20% of the privacy conversations online revolved around Facebook.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, 17.3 or something like that, right?
Yeah, okay.
We also see Google coming in second at 9.4%.
Okay.
Twitter came in at, like, I think 3%, 3.4%, 3.5%.
Yeah, I mean, the Twitter users, they know everything's public anyway, so I would assume
it's pretty public, right? Their privacy is pretty straightforward. Something that really interested me was I wanted to see, like, when people are willingly giving out information, how concerned are they about privacy? The census. The census just took place from April to July. May, June, July, yeah. And that conversation only represented about 1.1% of the privacy conversations, privacy concerns.
That is wild.
Really wild, right? Because in the consensus, you're giving out a lot of information. A lot of information about yourself.
The census has everything about you. I mean, way more than Facebook, way more than Google, way more than any of these services.
Yeah. I mean, your name, where you live, how many people live with you, your rate, your gender, your sex, all this stuff.
Right. That's insane.
Yeah.
Why? I'm afraid to write anything on the census.
Oh, yeah?
Because I think the mailman's going to open it up and then steal my identity.
Well, that's the thing, though, is, like, I guess the mail's been around longer, so we trust the mailman, we trust, where it goes. But think about it. We're sending personal information about ourselves to people we've never met. But yet, we're going to spend all of our time talking about Facebook privacy, which arguably is sometimes the same information, sometimes less, sometimes more. But we're significantly more concerned about these new media outlets, these new places to converse online than we are with the census.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that, I mean, this is really interesting research. I'm going to almost say that the concern about privacy on Facebook is more concerning to these people than it was to send mail on pigeons back in the day. And to me,
mail on pigeons.
To me, I think that pigeons aren't. Can you trust a pigeon to get your mail to the locations?
Frankly, I don't even know how that works.
I don't either.
I don't know how they did that.
To be honest,
did they really do that?
I don't know if it's real.
Was carrier pigeons legit? Did that actually happen? Because like the first mail service in America was the Pony Express,
right?
Where people rode around on horses. That makes sense to me. Pigeons?
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
All right. So actually, that Google engineer is a pretty talented guy. I mean, he's made some mistakes, but I thought that we could actually use him here since he doesn't have a job anymore.
And, I mean, he worked at Google. He's got to be pretty good.
He's pretty good. Yeah. So I mean, I actually haven't seen him. It's his first day today. But
today was the first day?
Yeah, I haven't seen him around. Have you?
I haven't seen him either.
I don't know where he went.
I don't know.
All right, so Internet Explorer 9 is a brand new Microsoft browser that was just announced this week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, pretty fantastic looking browser. We're going to show you some screenshots here on their screen. This thing is pretty nice looking.
Is it nice?
I got to be honest. Okay, so Internet Explorer in the past has had a very bad reputation about not following standards, pissing off a lot of developers because they develop it on one browser and they open it up on Internet Explorer, everything breaks.
It's dear to my heart.
I know the feeling too. We deal with it all the time, right? Well, Internet Explorer 9 is taking some initiatives to comply to those standards. They're supporting HTML5 and CSS3 and all the great things about the web that's starting to evolve with a lot of the other browsers. They're on top of it, man. They're making it happen. They simplified the browser. It looks very pretty, very simple, clean. Now, this is something else that I'm very impressed with that Microsoft is doing is they want to take some real feedback. They don't want to just hear what certain people have to say. They know that they kind of screwed up with Vista. They didn't get enough feedback right from the community, so they took it straight to the tech community. They went to Reddit.com. And what they did was they hired them to create a whole section on their website to get real feedback about Internet Explorer 9. They encourage everyone on Reddit to start using Internet Explorer 9 and posting how you feel about it. Just be as honest as possible. Real feedback. I mean, those guys are going to be pretty harsh, pretty real with their feedback.
Yeah.
And they're ready for it, man. They're ready to take it. So
I think that really does speak volumes to a change, an alteration of just the normal course with Microsoft.
Yep.
Of, we're just going to put out this product. And it seems, I mean, I'm not saying that they don't do it. It seems like they just don't listen.
I agree.
And going to something like Reddit is that's a big deal, and cool. Good for them.
I think it's great. So we had to do a little research. This is wild, all right? Internet Explorer 9 conversation so far on the beta release was almost 90% positive, right? Now let's
90% positive.
Now let's compare that to Internet Explorer 8, their current browser, which a lot of people don't like, 50% positive.
That's a huge change.
Huge difference. So good. They're doing something right. Very good so far on the feedback.
Yeah.
Very awesome. In fact, here's some other stats for you. Beauty or beautiful was coming up about 14% of the posts. That's a lot of posts talking about how good it looks, right? Even along those lines, clean was on about 3.5% of the posts. Mm-hmm. We've got innovation in 3.5%. So they're seeing them make some big changes in innovating the web browser. I think that's awesome. We've got nice in 6%, and even impressive was coming up in about 4% of the posts. So I mean, that's some good stuff. People are really happy with this, and at least in the last few days when they've had an opportunity to try this thing out. So it is still early, it is still beta, but I think it shows a lot of promise for this browser, a lot of promise for Microsoft making some good changes and listening to their community and the users. So good for them. I think this is exciting stuff. And
real quick, what browser do you use?
I use Google Chrome.
I also use C to the Rome.
And, great.
Yeah. It's a little less known. It's more of the gangster version.
Oh, it's a different browser? I haven't tried the C to the
it's very similar to Chrome.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more like low-rider type feel to it.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Like pistol background and stuff?
No. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, I don't even know what it is, so I'm just guessing.
Well, anyway.
That's your week. Good stuff this week. It's been this has been your Buzz Weekly. Adam Coombs here, Ben Hagedorn. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.